PDM's Elma Dienda said the budget was tabled during the most challenging time, but called on the legislators to be very considerate of the plight of the vulnerable.
I am deeply concerned when it comes to the budget allocated to people living with disabilities, orphans and vulnerable children, and pensioners. This category of people are excluded when it comes to the distribution of drought relief food and the Harambee parcels.
Deputy Minister of Youth and Sports spoke about the vulnerable, but her focus was more on youth and women.
The low socio-economic status accorded to women and girls and the unequal power relations between women and men are identified as a key root cause of the SGBV in our country. This was identified during the second National Conference on Gender-Based Violence. I'm mentioning this, Honorable Speaker, as I would like to join the previous members who commended Honorable Ipumbo Shimi for the additional allocation of the amount of 157.7 million to the Ministry of Gender Equality, Poverty Eradication and Social Welfare.
In his contribution, the leader of the official opposition, McHenry Venani, said local companies are not given an opportunity to grow and called for the reform of the procurement system.
When big tenders are coming in the country, we must reform the procurement in such a way that we create access of our people to access those resources.
SWAPO MP Maureen Hinda Bwende, in her contribution, opposed any move to privatize state-owned enterprises.
That efficiency alone is not enough justification for privatization. I champion that we need integrated private sector, both at management, ownership, as well as governance level. Unless we want to hand over historic gains, value and goodwill of the public sector on a silver plate.
Landless People's Movement's Bernardo Swartboy said agriculture is not receiving the required attention in the budget.
That, for instance, your stock of sheep has declined over the last drought from a total of 2.7 to a total of 200,000 as we speak today.
But Education Minister Anangi Pondoka disagreed with the opposition MP on claims that government does not support local producers.
And directives have been issued to whoever gets tenders to provide food. And I'm talking specifically now of the tender for food in hostels. We are having specific requirements for whoever tenders to ensure that the bulk of the food is procured locally.
In his contribution to the debate, SWAPO MP Toby Opindi warned the government against listing MTC while the market is not liquid and for the mobile operator not to move away from its social developmental goals. In his reply, Shimi described some of the contributions as mere rehash of his budget statement.
I believe some of the comments were not really seeking for clarification. I think some of the honorable members were really trying to connect with the voters out there, and I was a bit taken aback because either some of the statements that were made, it was a repackaging of my statement, things that we have already addressed.